When my son said I wasn't expected at his wedding, I didn't argue. I didn't lose my temper. I stayed calm. But calm doesn't mean nothing happens next. If you paid for someone's life and they erased you from it, would you keep paying? Before I get into what really happened, take a second to subscribe to the channel. These stories aren't loud, they're real. And if you've ever been pushed aside by people you sacrificed for, you'll want to hear this one all the way through. The message came on a Tuesday, just after 7:40 p.m., while my kettle was still humming on the stove. I remember the time because I had just checked my wristwatch, the old silver one my wife bought me before she passed. I didn't know then that this message would split my life into a before and an after. All it said was, "Dad, about the wedding we need to talk." Nothing else. No warmth. No emoji. No question mark. Just that flat sentence sitting on my screen like it owned the place. When my son finally called, his voice was careful, like someone walking across cracked glass. He didn't sound angry. He didn't sound sad either. He sounded managed. The kind of voice people use when someone else is in the room, listening. He cleared his throat twice before he said it. Not directly. He wrapped it in soft words. He said they weren't expecting me at the wedding. That it would be complicated. That her parents were very traditional. That the guest list was already sensitive. I could hear her in the background, moving plates, maybe shaking her head, maybe smiling. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask questions. I didn't beg. I just said, "All right," and let the silence do the talking. He rushed to fill it. He always does. He said we could do something small later. He said it didn't mean they didn't love me. He said I should understand how these things work. I understood perfectly. I understood that I, the man who paid for his first apartment, his last semester of college, and the deposit on the house he now lived in, was suddenly an inconvenience. That night, I sat at my kitchen table long after the kettle went cold. The house smelled like old wood and lemon soap. I stared at the chipped edge of the table where my wife once dropped a plate and laughed about it. I thought about how I used to imagine his wedding. I thought I'd be sitting in the second row, maybe wearing the blue suit I only wear for serious things. I thought I'd watch him stand straighter than usual, pretending not to cry. Instead, I was being politely erased. I didn't sleep much. Not because I was angry, because I was awake. There's a difference. Anger is loud. This was quiet. This was the sound of something finally clicking into place. By morning, the facts were clearer. When you're younger, you think love moves in a straight line. You give and it comes back. When you're older, you see the curves, the detours, the places where people slow down or turn away. I opened my old metal filing cabinet, the one that sticks on the second drawer. Inside were folders with labels written in my wife's handwriting. House, school, emergency. I pulled out the house folder first. There it was. The mortgage agreement. My name at the top. The monthly amount circled in blue ink. I remembered the day we signed it. The bank smelled like burnt coffee. My son was sweating through his shirt, nervous about the numbers. I told him not to worry. I told him I'd handle it. I told him this was what fathers do. I didn't ask for a thank you. I didn't ask for my name on the mailbox. I just paid. Month after month. Quietly. Automatically. Like breathing. I thought about the times I skipped things so he wouldn't have to. The vacations I never took. The car I kept even when the engine light stayed on for years. The envelope of cash I gave him when his credit card maxed out. The way I never told him how close I came to selling my wedding ring once. These weren't sacrifices I announced. They were just part of the job. What hurt wasn't the wedding itself. It was the ease of the decision. The way my absence solved a problem for them. The way my presence was something to be managed. I replayed his words. Not expecting you. As if I had just shown up uninvited. As if I hadn't built the road he was now walking on. I realized something else that morning. This wasn't new. It was just clearer now. The small comments over the years. The way she corrected my pronunciation. The way her parents asked me what I did, then stopped listening halfway through the answer. The way they talked about neighborhoods, schools, people, all without ever raising their voices. Polite, clean, sharp. I folded the papers back into the folder and closed the drawer. I made myself toast. I ate it slowly. I wasn't planning anything yet. I was just finally seeing. 2 days later, the call came again. This time, it wasn't my son. It was her. She used my first name, not Dad. She always does. Her voice was calm, almost cheerful. She said she hoped I was understanding. She said weddings were stressful. She said her parents had expectations, and it was important not to upset them. She paused, like she was choosing her words carefully, then mentioned my wife. She said my late wife would have wanted peace, that she would have understood, that she would have agreed it was better this way. That's when something in me finally hardened. Not snapped, just set, like concrete drying. I didn't interrupt her. I let her finish. I let her justify. I let her smooth the edges. When she was done, I asked one question. I asked if my son knew she was calling. She said yes. She said they agreed it was best. I thanked her for her honesty. I hung up. I sat there for a long time after. The room felt smaller. I looked at the framed photo of my wife on the shelf. She was smiling the way she always did, like she knew something everyone else didn't. I said out loud, "I won't explain myself anymore." Felt strange, hearing my own voice say it. Felt right. I picked up my phone again. I didn't call my son. I didn't call her parents. I called the bank. I verified my identity. I asked about the account. I listened as the woman on the line listed the details. The balance. The next payment date. I told her to stop the automatic payment. She asked if I was sure. I said yes. She clicked her keyboard. She said it was done. I ended the call and placed the phone face down on the table. I didn't feel powerful. I felt calm. There's a difference. It took exactly 18 days. I know because I marked it on the calendar not as a countdown but as a reference. On the 19th day, my son called. This time, his voice wasn't managed. It was thin. He asked if there had been a mistake. He said the bank called. He said there was an issue with the mortgage. He said they were confused. I told him there was no mistake. I told him I had stopped the payment. I didn't explain why. I didn't raise my voice. I just stated it like a fact, the way the weather is a fact. Silence filled the line again, heavier this time. He asked what they were supposed to do. I told him he would figure it out. He always does. After that, things moved quickly. She still asked me for favors. Small things at first. Picking up a package. Sending a document. Then bigger things. Could I cover a shortfall? Could I help until after the wedding? Her tone stayed polite, expectant, as if nothing had changed, as if I were still on call. The final request came the week before the wedding. She asked if I could pick up her parents from the airport. Their flight landed at 6:10 a.m. She said it would mean a lot. I told her I couldn't. I didn't give a reason. I just said I couldn't. They didn't like that. They showed up at my door 2 days later. Both of them. Angry now. No smiles. No careful words. They spoke like I had broken a rule. Like I owed them. My son stood behind her. Quiet. Eyes on the floor. I listened. Then I spoke. I told them the truth. Not the emotional truth. The practical one. I told them whose name was on the house. I told them what I would and would not do going forward. I told them I wished them well at the wedding. I said I would not be attending. They left without saying goodbye. The wedding went on without me. I didn't check social media. I didn't ask for photos. I didn't need proof. I already knew how it would look. Perfect on the surface, expensive, carefully arranged, with everyone standing exactly where they were told to stand. That kind of perfection never lasts long anyway. 3 months later, the house was listed for sale. I found out from a neighbor, not from them. A small sign staked into the lawn, crooked, like it had been pushed in too fast. I drove by once, slowly, and kept going. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt closure. That's better. Satisfaction fades. Closure stays. My son called again after that. Not to argue. Not to demand. Just to talk. For the first time in years, he sounded like himself. No background voices. No scripts. No pressure. He asked how I was doing. I told him the truth. I said I was fine. I was sleeping better. I was lighter. He went quiet, then said he understood now. I didn't ask what he meant. Understanding doesn't need applause. I never went back on the payments. I never explained myself further. I didn't punish them. I simply stopped protecting them from the weight of their own choices. That weight did the rest on its own. These days, I keep my money where my respect is. I give help only where it's welcomed, not expected. I learned that love without boundaries is just another way to disappear quietly. And I'm done disappearing. So now I'm curious. If you were in my position, what would you have done? Would you have kept paying? Would you have spoken up sooner? Or would you have walked away the same quiet way I did? Let me know what you think in the comments.